Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we slice into the mysteries of everyday life, sometimes literally. Today's question comes from one of our word-curious viewers, CosmoBisc88. Thanks for the suggestion, Cosmo. You asked, why is pork called pork? If you've ever ordered pork chops at a restaurant and thought, wait a second, why don't we just call it pig? You're not alone. And if you have ever tried calling it pig meat in public, you probably saw the waiter make the same face someone makes when they accidentally sip spoiled milk. So today, we're serving up the story of how pork got its name, why it's not the same as pig, and how the English language got so extra when it came to naming meat. Get ready for a tale of history, language, and a bit of medieval class division, right here on Explaining Everything. Here's the weird thing. In English, the animal and the meat often have different names. Cow becomes beef, pig becomes pork, sheep becomes mutton, chicken stays chicken because it didn't get the memo. So what's going on here? Did someone want to make grocery shopping sound fancier? Imagine if apples became fruiton once you peeled them. The real answer lies in history, specifically a big historical moment involving knights, castles, and a lot of awkward dinner conversations. We're going way back to the year 1066, the Norman Conquest of England. The Normans were from what is now France, and when they invaded England, they didn't just bring swords and armor, they brought French words. Lots of them. At the time, the common people in England spoke Old English, which had Germanic roots. The nobles, however, were now French-speaking Normans. And here's where things get linguistically weird. The people raising the pigs. They spoke Old English and called them pigs or swine. The people eating the pigs. They spoke French and called the meat pork, pronounced like pork. Over time, these French meat names stuck for the food, while the Old English words stuck for the animals. It was like a medieval version of, you call it soda, I call it pop, except with more feasts and fewer plastic bottles. You can see the social class divide in the language. If you were a peasant working the farm, you probably never ate much pork yourself. You just raised pigs. So you'd keep calling them pigs because you were talking about the animals. But if you were a rich Norman noble at a banquet, you never saw the pig alive. By the time it got to you, it was already cooked and you called it pork. This divide happened with other meats too. Cow to beef, or bœuf in French. Sheep to mutton, or mouton. Deer to venison, or venaison. Basically, if it sounds fancy, it probably came from French. If it sounds like something you'd yell across a muddy field, it probably came from Old English. How pork became pork. The French word pork eventually slid into Middle English as pork, with the spelling shifting over the centuries. It's still pronounced the same way, just with that little English twist at the end. And yes, this is the same root for words like porcine, which means pig-like. That's right. Next time someone calls you porcine at a party, they're technically calling you a pig. It might be time to re-evaluate that friendship. Why it stuck, you might wonder. Okay, but why didn't we just drop the fancy name later? After all, English has simplified a lot over the centuries. The thing is, the French meat words weren't just for nobles anymore. They became the default for everyone. Over time, pork became the normal word for pig meat, and pig meat just sounded weird. It's like calling coffee bean water. Sure, it's technically correct, but you're not going to impress anyone at Starbucks ordering a venti hot bean water. Fun facts about pork. Because you can't talk about pork without pork facts. Pork is the most widely consumed meat in the world. Bacon, ham, and pork chops all count as pork. But if you call bacon thin pig strips, you're banned from the breakfast table. Some languages don't make the animal meat distinction at all, like Spanish, where cerdo can mean both pig and pork. So English speakers went the extra mile to make eating pigs sound fancier. This concept of a different name for meat has even influenced branding. Ever notice that high-end restaurants rarely say pig on the menu? They say pork tenderloin or heritage breed pork. Imagine going to a fancy place and seeing grilled pig leg in gold cursive. Appetite gone. And don't even get me started on the marketing power of French words. Pork pâté sounds like something you serve at a wedding. Mashed pig paste sounds like something you find in a cartoon survival kit. So why is it called pork? English peasants used the Old English pig for the animal. French-speaking Norman nobles used pork for the meat. Over time, both words stuck, but in different contexts. Now we say pork when it's on the plate, and pig when it's in the barn. The result? Your dinner menu sounds fancier than your farmyard tour. So, to sum it up, pork is what happens when English-speaking farmers met French-speaking nobles, and the language decided, hey, let's keep both words. One for walking around, one for eating. Its linguistic history served with a side of bacon, shaped by medieval politics and a dash of French flair. Whether you're a pork lover, a bacon fanatic, or just someone who finally learned why cow magically becomes beef, at least now you can nod knowingly the next time someone asks, why don't we just call it pig? And maybe, just maybe, you can say, because medieval nobles thought pig meat didn't sound bougie enough. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.